First of all, how many of you write poetry? How many of you write poetry and don't tell anyone?
When the Spirit says move, you gotta dance. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit, you gotta dance when the Spirit says dance.
Spirit. The spirit of it. That's what transforms.
I pray to God that when my success comes, it does not go to my head, sabotage my emotions, and render my spirit man dead.
I have seen this poem reach others because I think we all have this. We just don't all admit to it.
What poetry is in my life, it is the way to return me to hunger, sorrow, loss, difficulty, all of those things which our superficial human reaction is to flee, to get over.
In Vietnam in 1971. It's called War Dog.
Hey man, you can't have my son. No, you can't have him. He's not about to run game for you. Very person.
I don't hear what you're saying, except I hear what you're feeling. We think in prose and feel in poetry.
Párpados que cerrados te imaginan, te contienen. Me salpican sus pequeñas auroras.
I love poetry. I have always loved poetry. I love writing poetry.
Walt Whitman writes, "Do I contradict myself? Very well then I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes."
Llegando hasta el carnaval, quebradeño mi cholita.
Art Lerner was a clinical psychologist, a professor, and poet who helped establish the National Association for Poetry Therapy and pioneered its practice in Southern California.
Don't forget, poetry in therapy means that you are using the language and the word in order to affect a kind of understanding, a coming into contact with the person's own feeling. Using one of the poems by Emily Dickinson is marvelous. And it goes like this. I think I know it quite well, and I should be able to recite it. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's a perp surprise.
Dr. Lerner was a man of exceptional academic and literary accomplishment, but his true gift was a dedication to helping people find emotional truth and wholeness through reading, writing, and listening to poetry. He sincerely believed that the imagery, rhythm, and sound of poetry created a kind of music that could reach, embrace, and connect all of humanity.
I pray to God that when my success comes, it does not go to my head, sabotage my emotions, and render my spirit man dead. Because I want to keep speaking these words that ignite my soul and one day incite a revolution of consciousness that circumnavigates this globe.
It's like finding a rare coin. And I grab it and I cut it out and I put it in a photo album, and I just have volumes of photo albums with poems that I really like. You were the upper and I the lower jaw of a hungry wolf coming together in the same bite. How sweet the taste! Why must you find the afterbite so bitter?
Why have I made this decision? Can I identify why I have made this decision and say something about it? But it's entitled, Idaho Needs Poets More Than Judges. Idaho is a state of mind, flying freely like an eagle, not an economic opportunity to pawn her soul for profit. Judges read the law and rule rightly, in compliance with its businesslike directions. Poets listen carefully to their heart and write with feeling, making music that echoes in their pulse.
when I had a life-threatening illness 10 years ago and made a conscious decision that I would live from this experience, I had to know why I was living. I decided in that moment that I would take the experiences that I'd had in my own healing process and help other people heal. That I would want to do service in this way in the world, whatever it looked like. And it seems to be taking the form of writing and sharing. Standing naked in front of the mirror, I see where I've been. My body uneven at the hips and slightly twisted like a listing ship seeking a calm harbor. A long scar on my thigh, paler than a strip of blanched island sand. The legendary cross on my head that named my life, hidden by the long hair of which I have always insisted upon. And when I don't smile, my mouth is a thin crescent moon waiting for the full sun of a man's lips.
My dreams are not my dreams. I neither make nor claim them. They bear no resemblance to the visions of my soul. My friends speak of their dreams, and I'm filled with envy. Large screen, cinemascope things, crafted with colorful plots and characters, stuffed with psychological overtones, hung in the balance of reality. My dreams are lifeless, lacking character and characters. I awake with a start to the heart-hammering drama of appearing in public with two left shoes, which wouldn't be so depressing if it really symbolized something, like losing a chair at Harvard.
Poets have always written about hate, greed, sex, love, all the human emotions. Psychologists are Johnny-come-latelys in the field.
But I thought it might be, again, good for this group, which is working so much with healing of story. It was a poem written after the end of a 7-year relationship, when I first began to have any grasp at all of how to deal with what had happened. That falling. You turn toward meteor showers in August, wishing yourself like that, bright and burning wholly out. When feeling finally comes, it is that falling, matter breaking away from air, the sound of crickets moving through the grass like fire, and the strangely twisted metal in the field that a child finds, residue, crown. Then there's the story of the Chinese sage in anger and despair who cut his body away in pieces, flung them into the lake. Each one, becoming finned and whole, swims off.
Novels are plotted. I don't think poems are. We're constantly interpreting, realizing, and experiencing on more of an experience from the heart than from the head. Mementos. Sorting out letters and piles of old canceled checks, old clippings and yellow note cards that meant something once, I happened to find your picture. That picture. I stopped there cold, like a man raking piles of dead leaves in his yard who has turned up a severed hand. Still, that first second I was glad. You stand just as you stood, shy, delicate, slender, in that long gown of green lace netting and daisies that you wore to our first dance. The sight of you stunned us all.
Sunday's child. Tomorrow I will honor the curve of a leaf, any leaf, and how the sun falls on a mass of daisies laid down in plenty on my garden floor. Tomorrow I will tie them up and call my sister, I promise myself. Tell her it is all right, she doesn't know what to say about my beloved being so ill. We can't be wise always, but we can always not know many things, allowing silence to draw us together. Doesn't that create wonder and names of constellations, even an odd eagerness? My husband, from his hospital bed, tells me about a little girl he saw skipping down the hall, so full of life, to watch for her. And then she appears again, bopping along, her braids bouncing, her socks slipping. She peeks a sliver glance through the door, clicks her fingers, then hums off. Isn't that it? Helping each other notice each day why the sun really rises.
Hey man, you can't have my son. No, you can't have him. He's not about to run game for you, grabbing purses on bikes, standing lookout at your drug sites. None of that. Hey man, you can't have my son. Hey man, you can't have my son. No. He's not about to run up and down your court system. Not after I ran him all over town looking for a job, until he ran into your roadblocks. It's not my problem how many boys you're supposed to bag and send to juvenile hall. This one ain't going. Hey man, you can't have my son. Hey man, you can't have my sons. Not this one nor the other one. Not after you didn't give one care about whether they ate, whether they had books, whether they had school clothes. You can't sit on the 50-yard line and grab him for a touchdown. Hey man, you can't have my son. You cannot have my sons. Street life, low life, unconcerned about life. Go your own way. Do your own dirt. But don't bother trying to drag them in. I have loved them too long, prayed over them too strong, worked too many days and too many nights loving them with a protective bond to just give them over to you. In fact, you can't have my sons unless you cross my dead body to take them.
But this was written for a friend of mine that was searching. She was searching for that trying to fill a void that she felt in her life at the time. It's titled Carol's Lonely Love. Dear God, to you I pray, will the one who understands me find me someday? Will he look into the empty eyes and pour into them love? Will he see the motivation and never get enough of the endless thoughts, considerations, and constant ideas, or of the laughter, security, and sometimes my fears? Will the tempers he endure, questions answered by he, respect me for my seriousness? Will he stand beside me? Dear God, the loneliness, sometimes the misfit I feel, it drains the energy inside, the motivation it can kill. Is there a person alive whom I can speak to and trust? Will you also provide an energy so strong that it creates our lust?
And, you know, even at my age, I don't think it's the last time I'll ever love, you know. Every relationship that I've ever had in my life, I've always had 2 or 3 songs that went with that relationship. I think music, you know, the words in songs, I think that's poetry.
Be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live.
Illiterates and others who can't talk many times, and suddenly, I can't go on, I mean I can't go on, I really can't go on, I swear I can't go on. So, I guess I'll get up and go on. Now, Theodore Refuge said, in a dark time the eye begins to see. What a lovely line.
speak words that really don't come out of my mouth in a regular conversation, because it is feelings that come through that I write down. This poem was healing because it's about going on, and I feel very fortunate because my husband was able to talk about dying. He knew that he was dying, and he embraced death. He, to me, was a hero by doing that, because he made it easier for me. It's called Going On. You didn't want me to stay in bed weeping and crying. It's what you said. Go out and make your mark. Do your part. It's your turn now to make a new start. Put it on paper. Put it in song. Put it on canvas. Dance all night long. It's my expression of how I feel, that all my feelings can't make you real. I cannot bring you back from the dead with all the pictures inside my head. All I can do now is not to hide and live without you here by my side. I'll write it on paper, I'll write it in song, I'll paint it on canvas, I'll dance all night long. It's my expression for what it's worth. I'll go on without you, existing on earth.
The hills of Altadena held the bones of my cousin for more than a year before hikers had found him. The animals had gotten to him, the police said. It must have been a drug deal gone bad. The animals had gotten to him. They shipped his remains home to our family in a box the size of a small suitcase, too small to possibly hold his memories of the landslides he left behind, or the pints of whiskey his father began to swallow to keep from breaking. Lost in an urban outback, looking for anything to mute the sirens of regret, like aborigines sniffing gasoline, stumbling towards detox farms that harvest angels. Lost histories of dream time in middle passages, drowned out by broken bottles, vacant lots, and billy clubs. I will find myself lost among the metaphors, creating modern mutes, looking for new metaphors with old lies. Lost among the travelers who can't hear the call of the didgeridoo from their new homes inside of glass stems, malt liquor bottles, and squeegee empires. I will find myself lost on the prairies, night so clear and black, the stars touch the horizon on all sides, and you try to hear the earth spin and feel the heavens curve with faint promises of mercy. I am so devoid of human touch that a knee in my back is a blessing. I want to hurl his name into the hills and wait for him to walk out whole again. I will find myself wandering the streets in daylight, holding a lantern and looking for one honest man, lost among the rookie cops whose idea of safe sex is slipping a condom over their nightsticks before using them and throwing my cousin's bones on the floor as though their random position will tell the future of our tribe. Lost in the sheets, silent transfers, blood tests, and first world triple cocktails. Lost among the provisions, lists of survivors, air conditioner, and film rights, chasing ourselves into the thickets, becoming reeds to hide from ourselves as dogs chase their tails. I will find myself. My runway's a kaleidoscope of Chavez Boulevard. My prairie, the grassy expanse of traffic islands, and my cool blaze profile lying in the grass, while High Mesa is found on the nighttime roof of the parking structures where I set up my telescope and I spy 3 Puerto Ricans from the hood, wiping their names on the moon's surface and petroglyphs with cans of Krylon, and my prism tells me there is something better waiting for me. I will find myself in the bones of my family and the whispers of these hills, in the bones of my family and the whispers of these hills.
Stopped me the other day that said, I want to tell you that I bought your CD. And I said, thank you. And she said, well, and I wasn't supposed to cry all the way to the grocery store. And I said, yeah, you were. That's the idea. To touch somebody enough to get a lump in your throat or to bring a tear to your eye, that is touching something very deep within that other person, that very inner self. And we all have that inner self. We are all in this situation together. And by sharing that, by sharing those emotions together, helps bring us closer together. Here we go again. Hopefully expresses that to some extent. We thought we paid the price before, so many years ago. But here we go again, for freedom is never free. As the cost of freedom goes on, we will pass the torch to thee. Will you take this awesome burden on as we took it on for thee? Here we go again, united we shall stand. Here we go again, though freedom shall never end. We will take the torch you passed us. We will face the fires of war. We will pay the price you've paid for us so many times before. Oh, so many times before.
This is a poem that came out of my experiences in Vietnam in 1971. It's called War Dog. I looked for War Dog after supper. Growling at his rival, he paws at the ground like a bull, head lowered, chest thrust forward, spinning into the red sky at dusk, a whirlwind of brown ghosts tear at underbelly and neck, no way to hose them apart. Sudden as nightfall, it's over, a ritual without a death cry. War Dog limps away. When I walk beside him, we become friends, and when I dress a deep gash torn from his flank, he licks my hidden wounds. We share this common ground. As we walk, I consider the coordinates of compassion. Dropping napalm without regard, a pilot fails to notice a boy, barefoot on a water buffalo. War Dog knows a few tricks, but this cruel invention of war has nothing to do with him. Facing his rival, his courage honors him.
In the 5th floor room of the Neuropsychiatric Institute, the boy lies strapped to a bed. Arms, legs, head flail, eyes wild, spittle whips the air. The nurse draws the medication into the plastic syringe, flicks the barrel for bubbles, and tests the plunge. She shoots the ether deep to enshroud his mind and spread it against the sky. There was no way to stop his headlong leap into madness. His engine-hot brain will burn cooler now. His mother says, "This is not my boy," and collapses her face in her hands. The nurse puts her fingers on the boy's head. "It'll be all right," she says, and puts a Band-Aid on the injection site.
משמעות המילה חברות, ידידות, אהבה, נאמנות. אם יש לך חבר, עליו אל תוותר, חברות לא באה בקלות. אל תהיה לבד, קח לך אחד, כי חבר זה חבר זה חבר. חברות זה דבר שעוזר.
The Tower of David in Old Jerusalem, Israel, appears here as a found poem. In the summer of 2000, American artist Dale Chihuly imported thousands of blown glass shapes from his Seattle studio and created sculptures of brilliant multicolored light among the ruins of this ancient stone fortress. This visual poem, as Dr. Lerner liked to say, speaks for itself.
The Wailing Wall is large, strong, and very tall. It's popular with weeping crowds and package tours. But down the road a little bit is another wall, far older, overgrown, and rather small. It's called the Laughing Wall. There, every day, the best comedians of the human race go to face Goliath. The stones absorb their punchlines to get to the other side. She should have ducked. Please. They grow warm in the sunset of the world. The package tours and weeping crowds ignore this little wall, which, after all, is old, overgrown, and rather small.
Antonietta Villamil was a teenager at home in Bogota, Colombia, when she witnessed the abduction of her 17-year-old brother by political terrorists. He was not seen nor heard from again. Here she reads from My Little Brother Pedro.
Crece el mar, crece la noche, crecen las estrellas. De tus ojos, en mis párpados, que cerrados te imaginan, te contienen. Me salpican sus pequeñas auroras. En mis manos suavemente se disipan. En mis párpados superviven los insomnios de tus ojos. El nocturno cielo que nos nubla en su tristeza, como un cóndor invisible, se ha posado en tu mirada. Crecen las estrellas, crece el mar, crece la noche. De tu voz en mis labios que apretados te imaginan, te retienen, me inunda.
I usually covet poetry. I write my own and I hide it. Sometimes I can't even find it. Other times I collect poems that I really like, and I've started now doing what art would do all the time, and that is, if I really like a poem and I think it may speak to people, I'll pass it on.
In groups where people were very, very involved in trying to make decisions, and I also shared with them my inability to make decisions at times. I search for light, it's called. I search for light beyond the fog, and sing of God and man and acorn halves which thrush their shells athwart the sun-defying time, flowing into ways and course. I search for fog to find the light. The search is bright. The search for light beyond the fog.
I have this very strong connection to the land. And there's a part of me that wants to believe that everybody has it because we're all walking this earth. Vultures. 3 vultures stand in the old pine across the field. Dappled light catches their outstretched wings. Perhaps they are drying from unexpected rain, perhaps inviting my sorrow to lift upon the crosses they have made. It is sunrise, and I see them opening and closing the heavy drapes that covet the dead. Choosing to believe instead they are hawks sending me a message, I look to the ground for clues. An orange-scaled lizard under a canopy of yellow grass listens to dreams I whispered to the earth. I find a large quartz rock broken in 3, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, and carry a piece home in silence. Truth is born in silence. I alone witness mine. The vultures bear me on their black wings. Sun flares through each pointed feather and starts a holy fire unto itself. My grief rises up in a way only stars that have fallen can know.
Hear the wind voices, rise the river,
Mother, Father, River, you baptized me in the numbing chillness of your mornings, cuddled me in the rumble of your nights, taught me the ways of fishes in your riffles. I love you like the brother I never had, like the lightness of the midday breeze that touches the deepest places where I am. You are my refuge and my strength. You give me peace when trouble comes. You never fail to wash my sins away. You'll be there when my body turns to dust, holding the essence of my being in your everlasting flow.
The echoing rain keeping pace with Bach, and the rain-drenched narcissus whose delicate white fragrant heads bow under the weight of the rain, as if in genuflection to the rain, the now soft, long sought-after rain, the now heavy, blessing everything rain. I am the rain, the dancing rain on the roof. I am the poetry of rain. I am the rhythm of the rain. I am the soul of the rain. I am the rain filling every crevice of the earth.
Words cannot describe when waves crash against rocks and I'm reeling at the feeling of just water and earth, yet so much more. Because even calling it the breath of life labels a vibration that words cannot describe. And as we are rolling and beating together in the rhythm of life's creation, I love you is breathed in and out, repeated. Though our eyes agree, this dance is a duet that words cannot describe. And TV's reporter talks of murdered son, offering explanations for cutting down another tree, urging you to stay tuned for the expression on mother's face, or a forest of empty space, promising images which words cannot describe.
Let's go to another item of Whitman, which I think, as they say in Latin, res ipsi loquitur, the thing speaks for itself. And let's see how it fits in with the realities of life. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness. And when you try to encourage people and when you try to help people to help themselves, I have found this to be a most rewarding statement.
If nothing else, increases people's self-esteem so enormously to be able to write and then to see that in a print when I bring back a poem that I've typed up or a group poem, to see their name on it. It's just incredible. And the level of sharing with these really very regressed patients that is possible through poetry is amazing to me.
Because in this world, too many people have never known what it means to be real. I pray daily that I will never become one of those sisters or brothers who hide behind their riches and have gotten too big for their own britches. They tell others that they are self-made and that you gotta hustle like them if you ever expect to get paid. They tell their bootstrap stories to all who will stop and listen, never ceasing for a moment of time as they rush to achieve their mission.
In all 10 directions of the universe, there is only one truth. When we see clearly, the great teachings are the same. What can ever be lost? What can be attained? If we attain something, it was there from the beginning of time. If we lose something, it is hiding somewhere near us. Look, this ball in my pocket. Can you see how priceless it is?
And it speaks to me for several reasons. One, it's written by a woman who's 85 years old, who's from Louisville, Kentucky. And the name of the poem is, I Would Ride More Merry-Go-Round. If I had my life to live over, I'd dare to make more mistakes next time. I'd relax. I would limber up. I would be sillier than I have been this trip. I would take fewer things seriously. I would take more chances. I would take more trips. I would climb more mountains and swim more rivers. I would eat more ice cream and less beans. I would perhaps have more actual troubles, but I'd have fewer imaginary ones. You see, I'm one of those people who live sensibly and sanely, hour after hour, day after day. Oh, I've had my moments, and if I had to do it over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I'd try to have nothing else, just moments, one after another, instead of living so many years ahead of each day.
חברות זה דבר שעוזר, כי חבר זה חבר זה חבר, חברות זה דבר שעוזר.
From Dylan Thomas, and death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion. Dead man, naked, they shall be one, with the man and the wind and the west moon. When their bones are picked clean, and their clean bones gone, they shall have stars at elbows and foot. Though they go mad, they shall be sane. Though they sink through the sea, they shall rise again. Though lovers be lost, love shall not, and death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion. Under the windings of the sea, they lying long shall not die windily, twisting on rocks when sinews give way. Strapped to a wheel, yet they shall not break. Faith in their hands shall snap in two, and the unicorn evils run them through. Split all ends up, they shan't crack, and death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion. No more may gulls cry at their ears, or waves break loud on the seashores. Where blew a flower, may a flower no more lift its head to the blows of the rain. Though they be mad and dead as nails, heads of the characters hammer through daisies, break in the sun till the sun breaks down, and death shall have no dominion.
And I find that in poetry. I find that when you scrape away the pain, the anger, the rage, the hurt, the abuse, you find a loving human being crying out for acceptance, crying out for understanding, crying out to just be loved, to be understood. And I saw art do that with poetry.
Deserts of the heart, let the healing fountain start. In the prison of his day, teach the free man how to pray. Go with God and thank Him.